Hey guys, it's Jaclyn, and today I wanted to film a prom makeup look. I know prom season is quickly approaching for a lot of you guys, and I never went to prom, but I want to do a makeup look that I would have worn if I was to go to prom. It's going to be kind of natural but still have a bit of a glam pop, so I'm super excited. Let's hop into it. So I'm going to start off by using this L'Oreal True Match foundation. This is great because it's full coverage. I would recommend using like a medium to full coverage foundation, especially for like prom, because it probably will be photographed. And make sure that there's no SPF in your foundation, because if there's an SPF, it'll flash back in photos and it might look really weird on camera. So I'd recommend no SPF on the day of prom. So I'm going to apply this with a big fluffy brush like this, and I'm just going to put this all over my face. So now that I have like the bulk of the product on my skin, I'm going to take a damp beauty blender and really just press it in there and really make sure that I get that beautiful like airbrush finish. And make sure that you bring your foundation over your ears as well, especially if you're doing like an updo, just because you don't want to have like this flawless base and then like bright red ears or like different color ears. So I would just take the extra minute to cover your ears as well. So now that your base is looking pretty flawless, I would go in with a little bit of concealer. I've got a couple of blemishes on my forehead and my chin, and I'm just going to apply a bit of concealer there. Obviously, if you don't have any breakouts, you can skip this step. And I'm just bringing a bit of that concealer over my eyelids as well, just to really start with like a blank canvas. But you could definitely use like an eyeshadow base or a different type of eye primer if you prefer. When I was applying the foundation, I brought it up under my eyes and it pretty much covered up the discoloration I have under there, but I still want to add a little bit of brightness. So I'm going to use this MAC Prep and Prime, kind of like a highlighter pen, and I'm going to pop this under my eyes as well as some other areas that I want to kind of bring forward and add a bit of dimension. I would recommend for prom to do a little bit of highlighting and contouring, just because in photos it's really just going to make sure that you have like dimension in your face and it's going to look really beautiful. So I'm going to do a little bit of that. And actually, this is looking a little bit like my April Fool's video right now. Don't worry, we will blend this out. It'll be good. So I'm just taking my beauty blender again and just kind of blending it all out. Prom season is always so exciting because, well, one, you're done high school and like you're approaching one of those milestones. But it's also just really fun to get all glammed up for one night and hang out with all your friends. Every school does prom so differently though. Like some people have already had their prom, some people like don't do prom until like the school year is completely done and summer started. It's all a little different. I'm curious, when do you guys have your prom? Has it happened already? I hope not, because this tutorial is a little late then. Okay, so I'm just going to set everything in place. I'm just going to use the Makeup Forever HD powder. I would recommend using like a mattifying powder or something that's a little more long wearing, just because for prom, you don't want to be like sweating and getting oily and worrying about your makeup all night. So I would just set it with a nice matte or a long wearing powder. Okay, so base all done. Let's move on to the fun stuff. I've got the Charlotte Tilbury Instant Look 5-Minute Face Natural Palette, something like that. This thing's absolutely amazing and I've been like obsessing over it. It is so beautiful and it's like the perfect traveling palette. I'm just obsessed with this. So basically it's got 3 different eyeshadow shades up there. It's got like kind of like a brightening all over shadow, then it's got a bit of a shimmery one, and then it's got one for the crease that's a matte kind of brown, and then it's got a bronzer, a highlighter, and then 2 different blush colors. So I'm basically going to be using all of these on my face today, but you don't have to use obviously this palette. You can just find similar really natural wearable shades. For this look I wanted to pick very wearable natural shades, but I am going to glam it up a little bit. But I didn't want to do anything too crazy because I don't want you to like look back in a couple of years and be like, oh my gosh, what did I do for my prom makeup? So hopefully this is like wearable and you can kind of tailor it to what you like. But I'm going to start off with bronzer, so I'm going to take a big fluffy brush and I'm just going to take that bronzer color right there and I'm just going to warm up my face a little bit. I always like to pop a little bit right on the corner of my jawline there, and it just kind of emphasizes that shape right there. And when you're doing bronzer, if you hold the brush kind of towards like the end of the handle, you'll have less of like a firm like grip on it, and it'll kind of diffuse the product a bit nicer versus like a harsh kind of bronzer line. So I always like to do this like with a really light hand and gradually build up the color. And even just from adding the bronzer, you can see how it makes the highlight pop a little bit more, but we are going to go in and contour a little bit as well. But I just love bronzer. Oh, it's one of my favorite makeup products. Okay, so bronzer all done. I feel like I was like using that viciously. Okay, let's move on to highlighter. So I'm just going to use the highlighter that came in the pan here. This thing is absolutely amazing as well. So I'm just going to take that on more of like a small brush here, and I'm going to pop that on the tops of my cheekbones. So you just want to make sure that you pop this on the highest point of your cheek. If you just kind of feel where your cheekbone is, pop it right there. And then taking a little bit of a smaller brush, I'm going to take that same highlight color, pop that on my cupid's bow, and as well on my brow bone. And I would recommend probably using a lot of powder products versus more cream products, just because, again, if it's more matte, it's going to probably be a bit more long wearing, and you'll have less of that oily look on camera. I always find if you're a bit more matte in real life, it ends up looking a bit better on camera, to be honest. Although I love like a dewy look in real life. But unless you have super, super, super dry skin, I would recommend probably sticking to powders for most of the look. Next, for blush, I'm going to take the more neutrally kind of blush color up there, and I'm going to put that all over the cheek. And I'm going to pop a little bit of this lighter color right on the apple to just give you a bit more life in ya. And I'm just going to take this angled brush to apply that. And then just taking that lighter color right on the tip of that brush and just popping that on. Next, moving on to brows, I'm going to take the Anastasia Beverly Hills Dipbrow. This stuff is amazing, especially if you want something that's going to be lasting all night. This stuff is like waterproof. You can like swim in a pool and this stuff won't even come off. So it'll be perfect for prom, especially if you're like sweating or like crying. I mean, not that your crying would affect your eyebrows, but it's just good that it's long wearing. I always like to take my MAC 266 brush when I'm using this product. For some reason, I just find it works really good. And then I always use the lid of this product to kind of move it around and apply it to my eyebrow. And I would recommend using a light hand when using this product because it can go overboard real quick. And then I'm just going to comb through with a little bit of a clear brow gel, just to make sure that everything stays locked in place. Next, I'm actually going to take the bronzer color we used and I'm just going to run that through the crease. Next, I'm going to take the eyeshadow up here. It's just a bit more gray than the bronzer and it's completely matte, there's no shimmer. I'm going to take it on more of like a fluffy pencil brush and I'm just going to put that through the socket. I'm going to run this color under the lash line as well. Then I'm going to go back with the big fluffy brush that we used to put the bronzer color in. And I'm just going to blend out all of those edges. Okay, and then next I'm going to take the enhanced shade there. And I'm going to go back in with the shader brush and I'm just going to put that all over the lid. Okay, so the eye look right now is really natural, but it's really gorgeous and I think it's going to be flattering on a lot of people. But of course it's prom, we want to glam it up. So I have this amazing glitter pigment here from Inglot, and this is just so beautiful. I've been waiting to use this for something, and I think now is the time to whip it out. It looks like this magical like stardust glitter thing. This is in the shade 118. It's called a Pure Pigment Eyeshadow. So I'm going to take a mixing medium. I've got the Inglot Duraline here, but you could also use like Fix Plus or even try water to adhere it to the eye. But Duraline is really cool because basically you can make any pigment or shadow into like a liquid liner, or you can use it to apply pigment or glitter. Or you can use it to even like revive dried out old mascaras or any dried out cream products. So I'm just going to take this and on my palette here, I'm going to do a drop of the Duraline. So I'm just going to do like a little drop of that on my palette. So I'm just going to kind of mix the pigment around with this liquid. Okay, so I'm going to take this color on my shader brush and I'm just going to apply that to more of like the center and inner corner of the lid. Okay, so I actually ended up trying the Fix Plus on this eye. I actually prefer the way that the Fix Plus is applying this pigment. So I would probably opt for that versus the Duraline. Ooh, this is looking absolutely gorgeous. Okay, so I'm going to take more of like a fine liner brush actually. And I'm going to take the pigment that I mixed with the Duraline that made it into more of like a cream liner. And I'm going to use that to kind of line the inner corner of my eye. Okay, so I think my final verdict, the Duraline definitely makes it into more of like a gel liner consistency, whereas the Fix Plus makes it more into like an eyeshadow that you can apply all over your lid. So depending on what look you want to go for, I would use them for different things. So I'm just going to take a powder brush and sweep away any of the fallout. It cleans up pretty nicely. Okay, so now taking a clean pencil brush, I'm just going to kind of blend out the harsh edges and make it a bit softer. Okay, and now I'm just going to go back in with the crease color that we used, and I'm just going to blend out the line of like the glitter to the regular eyeshadow. Okay, so now that I think the eyeshadow is blended out to how I like, I'm going to take a little bit of a black gel liner, and I'm going to do a little baby wing. I'm not going to do anything too crazy because we do have a lot of glam going on with the glitter, but I am going to kind of wing it out just a little bit at the end. See how it just kind of makes the eyes stand out a little bit more? I think that'll look nice, especially in photos. So I would recommend doing a little bit of a liner, even if you don't normally do one. Okay, so time for lashes. I already have eyelash extensions on, but I would recommend maybe throwing on a pair of false lashes for prom, or you can even do like some individuals. Those are a bit harder to apply, I find, so strip lashes are normally a bit easier. But I have a couple different pairs here. These ones I've actually used before, so they are kind of a bit grungy. But I like the shape of these, and I think these would be really nice for prom. These are the Ardell. I believe these are just called like the Natural, or maybe these are the Pixies. I forget what the name of these are, but I'll write it down in the description. So I'm just going to toss these on my upper lash line, and I will see you guys in a second. Okay, so false lashes are all on. Let's do some mascara. I'm going to use this Too Faced Better Than Sex waterproof mascara. The packaging on this thing is so gorgeous. I'm like obsessed with this right now, so I'm going to do that. And I would recommend using a waterproof mascara, especially for prom, because you never know if you're going to start crying or who knows. So I would definitely recommend this. Side note though, about this mascara, although the packaging is absolutely gorgeous, I find the stopper on mine like doesn't work, and so much mascara will like come out. So I'm not sure if I have a defective one and it's missing the stopper, or if they're all like that, but it's kind of weird. Okay, so there is the eye look all done. I really like how it turned out. It's got a little bit of glam with the glitter pigment, but it's still very neutral, and I think it'll flatter a lot of people and go with a lot of different people's outfits and dresses. But as I reevaluate the way I did my makeup, I probably should have done my eyes first, just because the glitter pigment could kind of make a mess. Luckily, I mean, I cleaned it all up with a fluffy powder brush, and all the glitter came off my face, but it will definitely cause some fallout. So you might want to do the eyes first and then the face after, but you be the judge. Okay, so let's move on to lips. I'm going to use this Charlotte Tilbury Lip Cheat Lip Liner in the shade Pillowtalk, and I'm just going to line my lips. This is like a very soft and natural pink color. I think any soft pink or like a nude would look really nice with this look. I'm not too sure that I would do like a dark lip or a bright red lip or anything like that, just because I think the focus of this look is the eyes. But you be the judge. If you want to do a crazy lip with that too, go for it. I'm going to pop on a lipstick over top as well. This is the Charlotte Tilbury lipstick in Stone Rose, and this is just kind of like a deeper pink than the lip liner, but it's still a bit muted and not too in your face. And then to end it all off, I'm going to take a shimmery gloss and just pop that over top. You know what? I actually really like this lip color. I think it really just kind of ties together the whole look, but it's not too much. I think it's really flattering. Oh my gosh, I just realized that I completely forgot to contour. I even like hyped it up and was talking about how you need to add definition into your face. We did bronzer, but I never ended up doing this. Okay, let me do contouring now at the end. This is the Rodial Instaglam Compact in 03 Face Sculptor. And this is a gorgeous contouring color because it's really that gray kind of color that gives you the appearance of like a shadow in those cheekbones. I'm going to take that on this little brush here from Morphe, and I'm just going to pop this right on my cheekbone. You want to use a really light hand with this and really blend upwards. Do you see how that just adds a little bit more of like a shadow, and it makes it look like you've got more of a cheekbone? I really like doing this. I'm just going to do this on my cheeks. I'm not going to really contour anywhere else. Okay, so now I think I'm actually done. That contouring just added a little bit more definition, and I'm glad that I didn't forget that completely and I did put it on. I do want to show you guys one last thing, and it doesn't really have to do with the face, but it's more of like the chest and the neck area, especially if you are going to be wearing a strapless dress. I do think it's worth it to do a little bit of highlighting and contouring on your chest here. So I want to show you quickly how that works. So you can either take like a bronzing color or a contouring color. I'm going to take the Charlotte Tilbury bronzer that I used earlier, and I'm going to take more of a smaller brush like this one, and I'm going to dip that into the bronzer, and I'm just going to kind of trace the natural shadows of my collarbones. And if your collarbones aren't as prominent, you can just kind of like fake it and just kind of draw them in. And this normally just looks really flattering and it helps them pop a little bit more. So I'm going to do the bottom, and I'm going to do a little bit on top where I have a bit of a natural shadow. So I'm not sure if you can tell, it didn't make too big of a difference, but it just kind of helps it pop a little bit more. Is that showing up on camera? I don't know. You do want to make sure you blend it out so it's not too harsh. You can even take like a bigger fluffy brush and then just kind of go along the edge of like your neck and your shoulder on the top there. And again, it just kind of helps define it a bit more. There are tons of like highlighting and contouring like body tutorials I know online. So if you are, say, wearing like a shorter dress and you want to like add some definition to like your calves or your legs a bit more, there's definitely ways to do that with makeup. And then after you're all done bronzing, take a bit of that highlight color, you can pop that right on the tops of the collarbones there. And this just makes your skin look like you've got that J-Lo bronzy glow, amazing skin. So pop that there, and you can even do it right on the tops of your shoulders there. See how that just kind of makes a little bit of a difference? It's not too in your face, but it just makes it look a little more glowy and a little more polished. I definitely think it pulls the look together, and it's definitely worth doing if you are wearing a strapless dress. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. It was so much fun filming. I love doing this prom-inspired look. Let me know if you want to see more or if you have any other specific tutorial suggestions, and I'll see if I can get to them. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys very soon. Bye!